airship, but use the canoe to get the airship.
It looks like Len the Cat is stalking Tristal here, just about 30 seconds behind him, matching him move for move at this point. So it looks like we might have a little bit of technical difficulties here with SG2, but just bear with us. Fiesel's working on it. So this is a good opportunity to everybody give Fiesel thanks and some hugs for allowing us to be on Speed Gaming today.
And if you happen to be sitting on a Twitch Prime sub and you don't know which streamer you want to use it on, hey, why not one of the Speed Gaming family of networks? He's supporting a lot of platform that gives a home to a lot of games, and we appreciate all they do. Question in chat, where was the floater? It was in Temple of Fiends. Then we found the TNT in Marsh Cave. Still working on getting all our runner streams back, but presumably Tristal is somewhere in Crescent Lake picking up his airship.
So meanwhile, we'll stay online here with Len the Cat. We'll take a look at what Crescent Lake has available for us today. Just Piers, Heels, and Soft. So wow, I hope you brought a way to save your game over from the other side of the continent, because you're not going to pick any of those up here.
No, I'll take the fact that we have heals for sale available, though. That is always an iffy thing, and you usually want to come here with a stack of 99 heals already if you're planning to do a grind. Early airship, though, you're going to be able to make up for that, but still, whenever you have to go extra steps to get what you want. Fast is level 6 and it is class change locked. Ice 3 is also not going to be available, and Scorpions are giving some trouble to Fuchsia.
Yeah, not only class change locked, but that red mage is going to need to be at level 20 before you're going to be able to get a charge of fast. So that's going to require a lot of forethought if you're going to incorporate fast into this seed.
So I'd still feel pretty good about heading to the volcano at this point and seeing what happens. You could talk me into going around and checking the free chests first, but the odds are pretty low and I'm going to find all of my go mode items at this point. We still have to find the crown and the slab.
So I've brought up Tristal's stream here sort of on the side just to keep an eye on what it is he's doing. He has just picked up the airship now. And so, Trenton, if you don't mind, I'm going to keep an eye on Tristal's stream here and we'll let him know, let you know if he finds anything interesting. He's going for the rod at the moment.
I think we just got caught up on the main stream. Possibly. Or at least it's being worked on. Alright, so Fuchsia has run into a lot of trouble with the frosts. In fact, Red Mage down, just trying to do this with a one black belt who will get a lot of experience for that wizard fight, but trying to get out of this marsh cave with just one black belt and a black shirt, that's not fun. They found anything that is tail locked? Well, they found fast tail locked, which is, I would say, the lead item. I'm not sure if Cure 4 was learnable with class change, but it would be something that you want. And this is going to be a tall order for Fuchsia to walk out of here, trying to do the hero run with just the black belt and a black shirt.
So still a little herky-jerky there for Tristal, but since we're all on tenterhooks as to what's going on there, there was really nothing of interest other than the Vorpal Sword with the Titan's Trove. So not a whole lot there to pick up, no progression items.
Yeah, and even if your Czar, Vorpal Sword is just money in this seed.
So hello to everybody that's joining us here on Speed Gaming 2. This is a run of the Final Fantasy Randomizer League. This is stage 5, more black belts than you can shake your stick at, along with one red mage. The goal here is to go ahead and kill off chaos. We've got Len the Cat doing a little bit of grinding while we try to get Tristal and Fuchsia Fantasy streams back up and running for us.
Yeah, Fuchsia was able to get out of Marsh Cave with the TNT and save, so at the very least you're going to be able to get back to Elfland one way or another. Cobra's was slow too, is a little annoying just because you have to wait on the spells and land down to just the red mage. That's tall order, but the red mage does it and gains a couple levels.
So about 10 minutes ago, Twitch decided to explode on poor Fiesel and speed gaming here. So I know he's working very hard to go ahead and get all this back up and running for all of you that are watching. This is a great opportunity since we're sitting over here on Speed Gaming 2. If you got a Twitch Prime sub and you're already subbed to Speed Gaming 1, go ahead and give a sub over here to Speed Gaming 2 for the 600 or so of you that are watching right now. And if you want to spam chat with thanks for Fiesel, for giving us, like, how many speed gaming channels are there now? 5? This is a great opportunity to thank Fiesel for all of the work that he does for us.
So the world is completely open. It's pretty normal to see runners go and check the treasure chests in areas that they're able to just get to right away. What's interesting is one might escape your notice in this scenario. And in all these other runs, for pretty much the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've seen at least one person every time go to the Earth Cave early. And this is a case where it might escape your notice, but when you can land that airship right there, that first floor is really easy to get to. So it will be interesting to see if anybody makes that play.
Cheap housing market, and the bottle is also cheap today. It's really nice to have houses there at 500 gold a piece or so. That helps an amazing amount with the flexibility that you get for your party.
So if you see this and you want to find out more about how the Final Fantasy Randomizer works or get involved with any of our races, feel free to join us at the Discord. And you'll get more help than you can shake your proverbial stick at.
Here's Len the Cat giving us a peek into the Titan's Trove. Vorpal and a Katana. Vorpal, neither of those are going to be terribly useful in a seed like this, except probably to sell for money.
Yeah, that's just money, but hey, money you need sometimes. There's pearl rings and gold bracelets still out there for sale in the great vast world. And they're very useful. The catch-22 of having airships so early, though, is that here you're only level 9. So, places you can go, you don't necessarily have the levels to fight what you might encounter there.
Yep, you're absolutely right, Trenton.
You get these treasures, but something like the waterfall, that'd be a real stretch at these levels.
There's another 666 gold. This was portentous because it's crashing people's streams.
Saw the Thor's Hammer pop up for Len here at the Dragon Islands, so anybody coming here is going to get that. Very useful to get those casting items because you're probably only going to level 1 black belt for melee damage, and if the rest have casting items, then that makes them much more useful in a situation where you've got to deal with multiple monsters in one encounter.
Big props today to our tracker, Melee Wizard, who is trying to make sense of all of this and add items as he sees them as they sort of peek into people's item screen. So Melee Wizard, thanks for doing your good work today.
Indeed. Also, Tristal went to Volcano, so he's in that area now. You mentioned the possibility of doing an overworld grind. Apparently we did find the tail, but no reason to turn it in early. You want to level up your black belt first. I'll come back to that. There's a couple potential spots. One is right outside Crescent Lake, and you can check to see if those first couple encounters have a peed fight. If so, that's a great place to get a lot of experience. You can also check and see around Gaia if anything there is going to give you a lot of experience. It looks like pretty much everybody is in the area where they either have or are about to get their airship at this point. Here's our pro rings and gold bracelets for sale. Like I said, that's a lot of money. 44,000 gold to, well, round it up to 45,000 to equip a party member.
Yes, Gaia will take all of your money now. And every once in a while, we get a peek at where Tristal and Fuchsia Fantasy are, but thankfully, Len the Cat's stream seems to be pretty strong today. Our European in the field here, apparently Twitch in Europe is working just fine.
Never know with these things. So Len is able to trade in the bottle for the Oxyale. That means he's able to do the Sea Shrine, but I'd want about 20 more levels before I thought about going there.
Yeah, that would be a real tall order at this point, and so maybe he'll go peek into the waterfall here, grab a few levels there, because you can warp right back out and save any progress that you have. There's too much in the Sea Shrine at a low level like this that's going to cause you fits.
Even that waterfall is just not going to be particularly friendly at these levels, so this is a bit of a gamble by Len to try and do it this early. He's burning off a couple of encounters so that he'll get the big walk to start with.
Yep, this is a smart move. He'll be able to warp right back out, and so he'll only maybe take 3-4 encounters here tops if he plays this correctly.
But which encounters can make all the difference? And what those encounters have. These mud golems are hitting pretty hard, but, well, he's only got the one black belt, so I assume that one is the one that's armored. Life 2 could help him recover, but, boy.
Yep,
at a low much defense and not much hit points right now.
Yep, at a low level like this, every spell charge matters a great deal, and especially for the Red Mage, it's both on the offensive and the defensive side.
Whiz Mummies will give you a pretty decent amount of experience. He might get 2 levels or more from this fight, so I like the use of a nuke here. Fuchsia is able to pick up the tail. Pretty easy to access that tail, so everybody's going to have it, and then the big question is, when do you turn it in? How many levels do you get? Because it's not just a question of how much do I get on the main black belt, which is probably going to be something in the 32 to 42 range. But if you're going to use a second black belt, you want to level them up too before you go in class change, because it's going to be worth more magic defense out of warp charges, but thankfully Len has an exit charge to bail him out.
Yeah, that was very fortuitous. I was hoping he would not have to run backwards out of waterfall, which feels really bad.
Really confusing. I'm not used to going that way. I don't care how many times I've done it. It feels weird.
So it does look like Lena's going to go ahead and forego Sea Shrine at this point for another dungeon opportunity. I think that's probably the best play at this point.
Yeah, that would have been a long walk even to get to the mermaids.
All right, we've got it looks like Fuchsia Fantasy's stream is stabilized, and so everybody give a bless RNG for poor Tristal, who has been frozen at the volcano here for a little bit, but hopefully Twitch will allow us to see what's going on his stream shortly. Len the Cat looking to play in the volcano next, and I think this is an excellent idea.
I really do like the idea of being in the volcano for the first dungeon. There is actually a case to be made for going to the ice cave in this seed. I can get to that eye pretty quickly. He's usually nice and easy. And after I even get the levels I want from the first black belt, I can do Life 2 and bring up the next one. The downside to that strategy would be the possibility of getting encounters in the off tile, which is one of the reasons why the Agamas are usually a preferred spot, is no other encounters. There is the Opal Bracelet here in the volcanoes, so that's your best defensive absorb armor. Pro capes, pro rings, you're starting to look like a professional here. As far as defensive gear goes, they've pretty well gotten everything they can get at this point, except for the white shirt.
So we are still 2 progression items away from being able to call go mode. Slab being 1, and Crown being the 2nd. Both of those will be required to go ahead and finish this seed up. Armory didn't have it, and hard to tell from Tristal's feed whether or not there's anything else down here in the volcano that's going to be of use.
It looks like he is working on the Agamas right now, and considering he's got the red mage in the first spot, that probably means he's going to try and do a solo black belt grind. You do want a nice leveled up red mage as well, because when he's your only source of recovery, the higher level he is, the more durable he's going to be in Temple of Fiends Revisited.
And it is interesting to watch Fuchsia Fantasy taking a bit of a different approach here, foregoing a grind a little bit at this point. There's not a whole lot of grindable spots here in Earth Cave, but he is going ahead and clearing out early chests here to see if anything's available.
And if you find something, it could be an advantage because nobody else is here. Anytime you can do something that nobody else is doing, that gives you a potential advantage.
Went ahead and exited out back to the overworld. I'll be interested to see how far he dives into Earth Cave. Level 3 of the Earth Cave especially does not have a whole lot of chests in it, and they're a little far flung. And so runners feel like they maybe lose a little bit of time trying to fully clear Earth Cave out.
So speaking of doing something nobody else is doing, it looks like Smugzug is in the Ice Cave.
Question in chat from Shylin asking if the special properties on weapons work in this stage. They do, especially the ones that, of course, cast items as a spell. The magical weapons, if I recall correctly, have been tweaked slightly so that they do work a little bit, they're a little bit effective against enemies that are weak to those properties, but not so much to the point where you're going to want to trade it off for a Masamune or something like that. Once you find those higher level weapons, you're going to run with those for the rest of the game.
Well, and you're not going to put a weapon on most black belts. Masamune would be the lone exception where you would. But as far as the red mage holding an ice sword goes, it's not going to make that much of a difference. A fighter with an ice sword, yes, you'd see a definite uptick, but the red mage just isn't going to do enough basic damage that it's going to matter a great deal. So Masamune is really the only one that they're looking for as far as a weapon to use goes. And I believe with weapons fixes on, it's actually slightly worse because of the crit rate dropping.
And now we'll see what Tristal found here in the lower volcano, because Len the cat has arrived. And so let's see what's available for our runners. And there's the Masamune, just as we were talking, down in the lower volcano. So Len is going to go ahead and give that to the black belt that's up right at the moment until the black belt can get a few more levels on him.
And that actually makes perfect sense. It's going to outdamage the bare fists of the black belt until basically the 30s. People tell me it's more like 28-29. I personally don't see a consistent difference until 32 when the black belt gets the extra 2 hits. The defense sword, by the way, is a very good pickup. It'll cast Ruse on the person who uses it, and that's quite valuable. But Masamune is going to make grinding pretty routine against something as long as it doesn't have anything nasty. And apparently the Agamas don't, because Tristal is still doing just fine here. And then it becomes this battle of how much time do you invest? How high a level do you want with this one black belt? And I know for my skill level, 42 sounds compelling. Somebody who is more adept, like a Tristal, might decide that 32 is enough. He might even split the difference and go something like a 36-37, figuring he's going to get enough experience the rest of the way that he's 42 for the last 3 fights, which is where he really wants it.
And so Tristal's black belt, just when I looked there, went by level 26. I do like the play of getting your black belt up to about level 35 or 36, and then just progressing naturally through the rest of the game, which should bring you up to around level 42, just in time to reach Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Well, that's not a friendly sight here in the Earth Cave, because one of those undead had Squint. There's 2 big advantages to going to a higher level, even at this point, if you don't think you need it. One is your black belt will get more magic defense, and I've mentioned that a couple times. Basically, he's getting 3 or 4 more magic defense per level as a black belt than the master will. So 5 levels at even just 3 points is 15 more magic defense. Start to get an idea of what that could be. If it's 10 levels of difference, that's a lot of magic defense.
I'm going to Len the cat running into some trouble here with the red dragon. Luckily ran away from it and does have some life 2 charges, but that was a close call. The red dragon's hitting rather hard today, and so this is probably not going to be a grind opportunity. I would expect to watch Len warp back up here and go play with the Agamas instead.
Yeah, I still really like that he checked it, though, because on seeds where you find that red dragon is paper, he's actually worth more experience than the Agamas, so you can do pretty well there.
Looking like he's planning on dropping the red mage here and running with the solo black belt strat, just like Tristal is. So Tristal's going to have a grind advantage on him at this point of probably about 5 to 7 minutes. Of course, Len doesn't know where any of the other runners are, and Len will do his grind to wherever he feels most comfortable.
Yeah, and the one thing I would have to say about this is I would really like to have that red mage in the 20s leaving this volcano. So the idea of losing it at 16, 17 is not nearly as appealing to me as him being 20, 21, 22.
And there went the red mage, and so Len is committed now to a solo black belt.
And when you say committed, you're not kidding, because he probably couldn't walk out of this volcano alive. He probably couldn't beat Carrie right now, and he probably couldn't walk out the long way. So you have to keep grinding against these Agamas until you're strong enough to beat Carrie.
And you know, this is not a risk-free strategy either. We watched one of these stage flags. Boy, I think it was the second race. You can look on Twitch or YouTube. It was Tristal versus Minochi, who both did a solo black belt grind, just like we're watching now. They both broke for Carrie within 5 seconds of each other, the Fiend down here at the bottom of the volcano. And Carrie had Death Touch awaiting, and Tristal got through the encounter safely, and Carrie Death Touched Minochi's black belt, and that grind was over. It was 20 minutes of time that was lost.
Yeah, it may not be something that happens that common, but it is something that absolutely happens. I'm probably a little on the paranoid side as far as runners go, so I over-prepare. Causes me to be a little slower, but the tougher the seed, the more that'll favor me as a strategy. For other runners, speed is king, and you're just trying to get through this as fast as you can, so you're taking the lowest level that you can get to be able to beat the game with in the minimum amount of time, because if somebody wants to spot you a 5, 7, 10-minute lead, then why not take that? Tristal is continuing to kill Agamas. He will get levels, I think it's something on the rate of every 3 to 4 Agamas right now. I'm not sure what the exact rate is under these settings. If you do it with max XP, you're going to be getting him something like every 2 1/3 Agama. Looks like he's level 34 now. So he could be done at any time. But if he's gone above 32, then I imagine he plans to keep at this for a while. People who have run this game may be familiar with the Black Belt's armor glitch, which is not getting benefit of his defensive items as he levels up. However, when he's holding the Masamune, that's not an issue, so you don't have to menu and check your armor if you're holding that Masamune, which is what Tristal's doing. And all those not having to check your armor for the defense is another little time save that Tristal's able to take advantage of. And so far, haven't gotten word about anything anywhere happening that would change the rate of this seed. We haven't seen any of the other progression items.
Yeah, this seed has come to a crashing halt here from a really, really fast start with Floater and TNT found pretty quickly. Now it becomes a game of where do you go next after this Agama grind is over. There are still 2 progression items that are still unaccounted for that you need to finish the game. And so questions then for everybody in chat. If you were running this seed and you're Len the Cat or you're Tristal, and you finish up your Agama grind, where would you like to go next after you go here?
Looks like Tristal has finished his grind at 37, so like we talked about, the kind of hybrid strategy where he knows he's going to get experience along the way. He wants 42 for the end game. That's not even a question based on what we've seen that he would go this far. But he doesn't have to have it before going into Temple of Fiends Revisited, as long as he can get it there before getting to Kraken 2. And 37 will be pretty safe for that. Now 38, because the other thing about coming to check the Red Dragon chest is you're getting 2 more Agama kills along the way.
So all eyes on Tristal, who's going to carry the Fiend of Fire first up in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. 6 hits for 140 damage, so she does have a punch, but it's not going to matter much.
It's hard to outpunch a level 35 plus Black Belt.
Bit of a troll bull encounter there.
One of the subtleties of all that leveling is that it puts you in a better position for the morale rolls, that more stuff will run away. So Tristal now gets the benefit of that the rest of the way, and if you're 32, your chances would be a little bit worse. And it looks like he's just going to go the 2-man strats. He's Tristal and I'm not.
Meanwhile, Fuchsia Fantasy playing with Lich, the Fiend of Earth, down on the lower right-hand side. I saw Quicklit in chat call that Earth Cave is empty of progression items here, and that Fuchsia Fantasy didn't find anything really of interest here. So down goes Lich, and Fuchsia has lit his first orb.
And Smugzug was in the Ice Cave. He's still there. But I haven't had a chance to see in his inventory if he's found anything. But it looks like he's going to do an eye grind.
It looks like Tristal is angling in the direction of, oh wow, we're going to do a class change. Interesting. So that will put Fast on the table for his Red Wizard once that Red Wizard gets up to level 20.
Tristal is going to go ahead and class change. That's going to give him more spell access, which, if you're going to 2-man, then there's nothing wrong with doing that now and get access to the spells. If you were going to 3-man and bring somebody back up and try and get them to, say, 21 or so to be useful, to be a contributor for Temple of Fiends, you'd want to hold off on the class change.
And we watch Tristal angle immediately back to Crescent Lake. He's going to pick up fast, and that'll be useful for him later in the game.
Len now gets to level 33, and it starts to be a question of how far will he go on his level. Don't know if he will go as far as Tristal did. Will he stop at 32? Figuring not invest as much time, will he go further and figure, hey, I'll get more stuff to run away from me, and that'll make up the time?
Tristal, not having yet done the waterfall, is going to go ahead and do that first, and then we'll see whether or not he sticks around to start clearing out the Sea Shrine. I got to think that Len's strategy here will probably be ending relatively shortly. How many heal pots does he have left? 56? We'll see. I wonder if he'll go all the way to 42.
You could go for a while with that. I don't think he has Mouse Immune equipped, which might cause him to take more damage if he's not checking the menu. And again, that's back to that armor glitch for black belts. If he's bare-fisted, then every time he levels up, his defense resets unless you go to the armor screen and check it there. And with Opal Bracelet, you'd definitely be better off doing that than just taking his natural defense. But it's more time consumed, so that's why Tristal kept the Moss Immune on while he was doing this. And that, and while you're one-shotting it, there's no reason to change anything. Tristal's able to get the cube now. Still needs the slab and crown, for which we have not had a sighting as of yet. So for those of you who like to root for the most troll-like outcome, that would be at this point that the crown is in the depths of the Sea Shrine, and then you have to get the Mystic Key to be able to go back to Sea Shrine and find the slab in that one locked room. And if it's that, oh boy.
Looks like Tristal is going to go mermaid side in the Sea Shrine first, and that's probably a really smart play here. A lot of chests that the mermaids are holding on to that you can grab pretty quickly, especially with access to warp.
I've been brought around to the wisdom of, if you need 2 items, check the mermaid side first. If you need 1 item, check the Kraken side first.
Sunsword pickup here for the mermaids. Sunsword is a nice backup sword for a red mage to use, or a red wizard. It frees up the Masamune so that you can give that to maybe a lower level black belt and have them do a little damage down in Temple of Fiends Revisited. Tristal also picking up a ribbon, and that looks like that's the second one that he has found.
Might even have been 2 ribbons there. Unless he already had the one and we just didn't see it in the volcano, which is possible.
Len, meanwhile, now at level 39 with the black belt, and so is taking no chances with his grind here. We'll probably see him go to 42 before he's done.
I wouldn't be surprised if he peels off at 40. That's just kind of been, without necessarily evidence to back it up, the observation has been that's where a lot of things really start hitting the tipping point where they run away from you. So it's a good level to target. And there's no doubt you're going to get enough experience to be level 42 for the end game. Fuchsia working through the volcano now.
It looks like Tristal now is going to go ahead and go crack inside, not finding any progression items that we're aware of up on the mermaid side. We're kind of running out of places for these progression items to be hiding.
No, we do have two scenarios which could easily explain this. If the slab is crown locked, then obviously we'd need to find the crown first, and this would be the last place the crown could be. If the crown is slab locked, then we'd have to find the slab here, and then it could be anywhere in Mirage Tower, Sky Castle.
Tristal wisely deciding here to go ahead and warp out of Sea Shrine and save his progress, heal up a little bit, and then dive back in again.
One of our chatters saying they're calling Ice Cave. Well, we have a runner in Ice Cave. We just don't know what they have because technical difficulties.
We can't forget secret option C, that being Castle Ordeals. Nobody's been up there that we know of yet.
Which is kind of remarkable when you say that about a league race, that somebody didn't go to Ordeals. But,
I know, right?
Not that many runners today, so a little more likely for that to happen. What about you, Maya? You were almost a racer today. What would you have done?
I probably, with as cheap as the bottle was and how many chests that are here in Sea Shrine, I probably would have beelined for Sea Shrine as quickly as possible. Which would have apparently gotten me little to nowhere.
This is a nice experience fight, and it looks like Tristal's going to go ahead and take it. One of our community members, Edgeworth, likes to call those an EXP pinata. Looks like Smugzug is going to do at least level 32 against the Eye. And also is keeping the Red Mage up. So that could lead to Smugzug having the most durable Red Mage for the late game, and there could be a value to that.
Tristal running into a dangerous ghost encounter here. Ghosts hit rather hard, especially for parties where there's only one or two people still up. A surprise encounter from them here in the Sea Shrine can end a run pretty quickly.
And you know what? We have Files in this race, even though he's off stream. If he hasn't gone to Ordeals by now, I'll be very disappointed in him. This is a classic Files play. With the early airship, it's a great time to be off sequence.
Tristal electing to do the water encounter here instead of the wizard mummies on the other side, probably just to test to see if waters have anything that he needs to know about in Temple of Fiends Revisited.
That's one of those big difference makers, so it's usually good to know that as early as you can find it out. After all, it's not too late to make small changes, like bringing a third member up. A double Saria encounter. You don't see that every day.
Very nice. And we've reached one of your favorite rooms, Trenton. You've coined this the Sharknado room because of the Gershark encounter sitting in the middle of the room.
Then we needed an easy point of reference, and I figured what's easier to remember than that. It's also kind of a last resort grinding spot. If you haven't been able to get experience anywhere else, you can do it against this trap tile safely, so...
Oop, map strats for Len. Len, thank you for showing us the map.
Sometimes you're flying in an unusual pattern. You're not used to going from this direction, and he's got his other 2 black belts up now. Still low levels, but he did his grind to such a level that he's not worried about funneling experience to the solo black belt anymore. Tristal's about to give us a look at Kraken, but he'll have to get through 3 waters first. They are hitting hard. They're hitting quite hard.
Yeah, he's going to very intelligently use a couple nuke charges here to make sure he gets through this safely. Water's hitting hard, and his party is, with only 2 people up. This is a risky run.
Yeah, that next hit will kill his black belt, but fortunately he doesn't have to take it. But that is important information for Temple of Fiends Revisited, because 6 waters is going to be no walk in the park.
Wow, and now he gets another one.
Does he not have that black shirt? Or does he not have it on the Red Mage? He's able to get through that a lot better than he did the last one because of turn order, but wow. The waters are actually vulnerable to ice, so the black shirt can still pay off here.
I think that was order of operations for Tristal. He decided to go ahead and melee attack and bring 2 of the waters down instead of casting ice spells and possibly giving those waters 6 attempts to take him out.
And there goes Kraken, so Tristal is going to get orb number 2 restored.
So we got a glimpse at his item screen there. I did not see any crown or slab present. And so Sea Shrine has also come up empty.
Alright, so there's... with no slab there, that means it's gotta be either in Ordeals or Ice Cave at this point.
Yep, and so crown or slab has to be hiding in one of those 2 dungeons. And so we'll see what Tristal decides to do next here.
I'll try to get a better look at Smugzug's inventory, but again, some technical difficulties on Twitch today are making that a little challenging at times.
Twitch living up to its name and being twitchy, so to speak. Ooh, Tristal letting that double Soria encounter go. And here we are in Castle Ordeals. We do have a warp available today to go ahead and undo any pillar mistakes that you make.
That's going to make Ordeal pretty fast, other than the encounters. There's only 4 rooms with choices to make. And if you've got the 4 choice early, then that makes it that much faster. That time he doesn't even have to spend one, and he's done.
Wow,
Easy.
That was fast.
Smugzug has gotten out of the Ice Cave. He has leveled up his Black Belt and Red Mage. And I think he's actually got a second Black Belt to probably a level 21 or so.
So chance is pretty high here that Ordeals is hiding something for us.
Wizard Staff. Aegis Shield would be great on a knight.
That'll be stage 6. Ooh, white shirt.
Well, I said that was the one defensive item we hadn't found so far, and there it is. This is a non-incentivized chest, and it's just a rune staff, so...
Oh, wow, okay.
The white shirt is helpful, but it's gotta be Ice Cave then.
Huh. The plot thickens.
So that's advantage Smugzug. And we don't even know what he has yet.
Right? I hope he checked all the chests in Ice Cave.
The good news for Tristal is that's the only... Well, actually, he hasn't done Earth, so it's not the only place left available to him. But with Warp, I gotta figure that would be your next play.
Yeah, this is a bit of a call that Tristal needs to make now. Earth Cave is a place he could go. It's a fiend dungeon, but it looks like he's going to go ahead and do Ice Cave first. I agree with this. It's the quicker clear, and then you'll have the confidence knowing that you're not missing something here.
So I'm still trying to see if I can spot off to the side what was found here, but no dice so far.
That nice
It was
long
the slab.
run. Okay, so we must have a slab hiding here somewhere.
It could have been slab or crown, but it is the slab. So crown is hiding somewhere in Mirage Tower, Sky Castle. Don't know where the slab is in here yet, but I was able to spot that in Spug's inventory. And if he happens to take that, that could be big for him. Because if you're able to go mode Earth Cave and Sea Shrine, that is a pretty sweet feeling.
Tristal's black belt just hit level 42, and that's sort of the magic level you want to see on a seed like this. And so there's not a whole lot out there that Tristal's going to be frightened by, except maybe some unrunnable group encounters.
Well, and the water fight in Ordeal is probably the one if he's dreading anything, it would be that, because you can only punch one of those at a time, and 6 waters are going to be able to do a lot of damage. Ribbon for Len. That is back-to-back ribbons. They were next to each other.
It's a fabric store here that the mermaids are holding.
Now you don't have to go ahead and equip them right away because there's no encounters on this floor, so you might as well see what the rest of the stuff is, so you only have to do your armor menu once.
Also an important consideration when you're running black belts, you don't want to go into the armor screen unless you have to.
That's only if your level defense is going to be higher than your equipment. With Opal, they would rather check it.
Oh, good point.
In fact, low level with gold, they're going to be better off checking it as well. I don't think you'll bother most of the time, but like before a boss fight, you probably would. Question in chat, did Trist find the thing yet? Well, now he has. There's the slab right next to a light axe in the last room. And it's not go mode, he still needs the crown, and he doesn't know where it is. So, does he go to the Earth Cave with its proximity, or does he go to Sky Castle? The great dilemma.
Well, it looks like he's going to go ahead and head north. He'll get his slab translated, and I agree with this. You can probably at least peek into Mirage to take a look at the chests that are on the first 2 levels of Mirage Tower pretty quickly. And then I guess the dilemma is, do you stick around and full clear Sky Castle, which takes forever, or do you full clear Earth Cave, which also takes forever? And you just have to hope that you pick correctly.
Well, unfortunately for Smugzug, he made the play to go to Earth Cave, and he's exploring it now. If he had gone to Sky Castle, he would have had a definitive advantage. But now, Tristol with that chime, he's going to be able to go find the crown before anyone else. Of our runners in this race today, I would say Tristol has the most to gain. Because once he puts up a 0, he's back tied to the top of the standings. Right now, I believe that's Minochi at the top of the standings. I'm not sure if anyone's tied with him. Sho is just behind with his .01.
Any of you that are Team Tyro fans, please avert your eyes as Tristol punches a punches a Tyro into next week.
Alright, here he goes. These first 2 floors have a lot of treasure chests that are very close together. And the sooner he finds the crown, the sooner he's in go mode, and with 2 ribbons, he won't even check another chest, I don't think, once he finds it. Did he check that last one?
I think he did.
Did he check it from the left side? I'm not positive he did. I know he didn't check it from the right side, which I probably would have done out of paranoia, but I'm not positive he checked it from the left side. If you saw that or clipped it, chat, let me know. Okay, chat's saying he did. It goes by so quick, sometimes it doesn't hurt to be sure.
Ooh, Power Gauntlet.
That's a big one.
All stop, and into the armor screen we go to pick that up.
That'll give saber casts to the user, which will increase their accuracy and damage. So against a high evade or high absorbed fiend, that's very powerful in the hands of a black belt. Actually, it's very powerful in the hands of anybody, because it can make anybody a good hitter if they can stay alive.
Man, this encounter table right in the middle here has 3 encounters, I think, within 3 or 4 steps of each other. You know, Tristol's going ahead and taking it down here in the Mirage Tower as opposed to higher up in the Sky Castle. But in Temple of Fiends Revisited, Tristol's going to want to be very careful with where that lands.
True, and also I would actually probably rather take the encounters in Sky Castle, because if I can get eyes, then I'm going to be quite happy with that. Now, the higher levels of Sky, that could be a little annoying, but those first few floors, I'd welcome the encounters. That said, his experience is done. If he didn't gain another level, he'd be quite happy with this. At least for the Black Belt, he probably wouldn't mind more levels on the Red Mage. Or Red Wizard, I should say. If I wanted to be accurate, which occasionally I do. And one thing you can say about Chaos is he's got his eye on you. So that's a nice experience. It is the same eye as it is in Ice Cave. There's just no grind location where you can get in on a trap tile, but it can show up randomly quite frequently.
So no crown in level 1 of Sky Castle. Now we go to level 2 of Sky Castle. But we'll see if Tristol clears here or if he goes up to level 3 first.
Yeah, this is kind of the worst floor to of the whole place to try and check for treasure, but you think about it, you'd take this over the Earth Cave. Also, Lyn is up to the Kraken fight. He's got that high-level black belt down in the last spot, so least likely to get hit. and shouldn't be any trouble against Kraken 1. But sometimes that party order makes a difference for keeping your big hitter alive. Orb number 2 for Len, as Fuchsia continues to look for treasure.
It's the third time we've seen 666 gold in this seed. I don't know if the seed's trying to tell us something.
And a good point brought up in chat that we hadn't mentioned directly yet. The crown being our last required item, it is not allowed to be in Temple of Fiends Revisited, because that would rely on you having exit or warp, and that's not always the case. So it has to be outside of Temple of Fiends Revisited. And Len is going to go to the Ice Cave, which is where the slab is, so he will be rewarded for this decision. Don't know if he did Earth Cave yet, but if so, this will pay off.
Tristal's leaving the left side of level 2 here to be unchecked. He's going to go up to level 3 and then warp back down if he doesn't find the crown here. Makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of treasure chests up here to go ahead and check. And lo and behold, there's the crown. And so level 3 of Sky Castle up at the top, not a great feeling location to find your last progression item, but Tristal is in go mode now.
Well, you know what? It's easy to say that because of how long we've been watching this. We're an hour 13 into this seed. That's actually a really good pace to be in go mode.
It really is. Tristal has set a blistering pace for clearing out dungeons, and this is one of the reasons he's such a great runner at this randomizer. He's been practically everywhere except Earth Cave, and he has everything done within an hour and 15 minutes. This is why he keeps finishing in first.
So, chat is already rooting for it. We're on the Bridge of Destiny. Will we get Warmech? Not gonna happen on Tristal's side. Tiamat is not gonna survive one round of punching, and that is going to be orb number 3 for Tristal. And he gets to go mode the Earth Cave, which is a pretty sweet feeling.
Yep, Earth Cave will be a pretty quick clear for him. It's nice when you can go through the Earth Cave and not have to check every single chest in there.
It does sort of become this question of, do you check for anything? But I literally can't imagine an item left that is left to check for. He's already got the defense sword, he's got the white shirt, he's got Moss Immune, he's got 2 ribbons, he's got the opal bracelet. I don't think there's another item that could help.
Yeah, I think you're right. Especially he doesn't need to take any more encounters either. His black belt is right where he wants it at level 44 and counting. And so I think he'll just be sprinting now through Temple of Fiends Revisited.
And, oh, by the way, the little old king was asked us how long.
Plot twist.
Tristal takes the crystal to get the herb, and soon we'll have his mystic key. The key is, of course, required to be able to complete the game, because after Phantom, there is that one door that, oh, by the way, is locked by the mystic key. I always say, you don't find out about how little you know of a game until you start playing it in Randomizer.
Yeah, it was quite a rude shock the first time that I beat the Phantom and warped back 2,000 years into the past and found out that, oh, you need a mystic key to continue.
Hopefully you had exit at least.
I did.
That would have just been salt in the wound.
Here comes the slab for Len. He'll be happy to find that.
Yeah, the sooner you find things, the better. But Tristal's pace is just so good because he's so efficient in clearing these dungeons. So right now, I never take anything for granted. Tristal should be the first one into Temple of Fiends because we know this Earth Cave isn't going to stop him. We don't quite know what Temple of Fiends is made of yet, except we do know that water encounter is not going to be nice. But there are plenty of other things along the way that can cause issues.
With easy access to Life 2, I hope that Tristal will bring up his Danned black belts there and give them, maybe a black shirt or something interesting to do on that water floor. I think there's only positives to bringing them back for the Temple of Fiends Revisited dive. He certainly doesn't need any more levels.
And not for his black belt, but I think the reason he is keeping them down is 1, menuing time, and 2, it's more levels for the Red Wizard, and every time the Red Wizard levels up, he is getting more magic defense, and he is getting more hit points, and he's becoming that more durable for Temple of Fiends Revisited, where, yeah, you could be facing Nuke, you could be facing Nuclear, you could be facing all kinds of stuff. And Len has the chime now, so if he does that, which he's already done the Water Shrine, so I can't imagine any reason he wouldn't go to Sky Castle next.
Tristal, true to form, has made very quick work of this Earth Cave. Maybe 3 minutes tops in this entire dungeon.
Yeah, when you're not veering off for treasure chests, you can check very quickly, and with that high-level black belt, stuff should just be running away from you left and right. So those two things combine to make for a very quick Earth Cave. A troll? What do you think you're doing?
A troll encounter.
And that is orb number 4 for Tristal. He picked up the key already, so he is able to go back to the past. Just make sure you're stocked up on heals first.
So now the Great Equalizer, Temple of Fiends Revisited for Tristal's party. We will see today whether or not the seed will be gentle to our runners at the end, or whether or not this is going to be a slog.
Yeah, the best chance that our runners have is something is so unpleasant here that 2 party members just aren't enough to get past it, and you need more than that. And here's the gas dragons. First time we've seen them, but apparently they're low HP.
Yeah, at least 265 hit points or less, and so these are not going to be too much of a struggle.
They are an unrunnable encounter, but also worth a lot of experience. Now a level 30 Red Wizard. That's pretty good. That's a quite durable Red Mage, Red Wizard even. Either way, you're going to be pretty happy about that.
Bad men, not to be trifled with. They hit 3 times for over 150 damage, and so we'll be running from those.
Power Gauntlet now for Len, as Tristal gets by the Phantom, which was the final boss of the last stage of the league.
Yep, no dot dunning here in stage 5 at the Phantom. We're going all the way to Chaos.
No validation chests, there's nothing there we need. Zombie Dragon's another unrunnable encounter. Not hitting hard. I do, of course, mean the Zombie Dragons, not Tristal's Black Belt. Black Belt is obviously hitting hard.
9 hits for 1,200 damage. It's not going to be a whole lot that can withstand that.
So nothing too dangerous so far, but we haven't gotten to the Fiends yet, and we haven't gotten to the water floor yet. And if you weren't here when we saw this earlier, the waters do hit quite hard in this seed, so a 6-pack of them could be a lot of trouble for this black belt. Here comes Lich. Won't even get a turn off. Bye, Lich.
Thanks for playing, Lich.
And that's where you hope he was just stacked with all the nasty stuff.
Yeah, you hope he had nukes and nuclears because you won't have to worry about them.
Yeah, so we've now taken 2 of the final 6 off the table because Warmech is in that pool as well. So any of them could roll any of the skills from that pool. So when you think about the stuff you're used to, swirl, nuke, nuclear, there's 4 nuclears, there's 1 nuke in the pool. Those are good. And so now there's, what am I trying to say? There's a 2 in 6 chance. So 1/3 chance that you're not going to see those this seed. Well, there's nuclear. There's still 4 chances of that. But we won't find out if she's got another.
Yeah, you're almost thankful that you have found one of those nuclears because Carrie did not roll with a whole lot of hit points. 1 punch from a high-level black belt will bring her down.
I didn't move the black shirt here, but he does have nukes on the red mage.
Yeah, see, this is where I might differ from what Tristel is doing here. I don't see really a whole lot of negatives to raising your black belts back from the dead, just as a insurance against these possible water encounters.
Len is about to find the crown, and he will be in go mode.
Then again, Tristel is a much better runner at this than me, and I tend to be hyper-conservative when I play stuff like this. He is going to bring him up for Kraken, though.
He puts those up, they're more likely to get hit in those front row spots, so it buys him more time for the black belt to avoid getting hit, hopefully. Like that. Perfectly according to plan. And
wow.
bye-bye Kraken.
It was 20 hits for 2,009 damage.
Well, that's exactly what you played this strategy for, and we're about to get the look at Tiamat after a hero run. Not getting an encounter between the two is pretty remarkable. Let's see how Tiamat rolled. Got over 1,000 HP. Not too bad on the absorb, but noticeable absorb.
Yeah, that says something. That says something when you can notice that the black belt only punched for 1,000 damage.
1,800 damage is enough. That is Fiend number 4 off the table. Is he going to get one? What a hero run that was. Yeah, that was from before Kraken all the way through the air floor with no encounters.
Well, everybody, you've got your Warmech. Warmech sighting. Beep, 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 beep.
And right now, probably regretting that he has the Power Gauntlet black belt in the first spot. Chaos on one side, nuclear on... nuclear. Warmech on the other. Warmech, nuclear, same difference. Chaos only taking 900 damage on that hit from the black belt. He does have tornadoes, so that's going to clear out the other 2 black belts. $1,400 damage, and Chaos is still not down. That's 2,000 range so far. Now closer to 3,000, and he's still not done.
Boy, Warmech takes out Len's party. That feels awful.
And there it is, GG to Tristel. First place time is 1:26:03. Len the Cat Unfortunate that he did that after the Warmack fight, because he was actually in great position to finish second. Would have taken a while, but I think he was the furthest along of anybody.
Yeah, it looks like Len is going to go ahead and give it a forfeit. That's a shame. But GG to Len as well. And Tristal clears off his chaos point. So we'll rejoin Minochi back at the top of the standings.
Poor Show has to settle for falling back to third place again with that .01. It's been funny to see rounds that we didn't necessarily think beforehand were going to be separators start to be the separators. But so far I think it's stage 2 that actually caused the biggest difference between the zeros and next best score. Actually, that's not true. Stage 3 did that. We'll hope to hear from Tristan soon. There are indeed a lot of versions of Final Fantasy 1. I am partial to the NES version. Of course, that's the one I grew up on. But when you play it with the conveniences, you get the original game experience with a few improvements, like the overworld dash button, the buy 10 option. You'll absolutely love the conveniences with the randomizer, that even if you kept everything vanilla, but just added those conveniences in, it's a great experience. I highly recommend. So, Maya said it earlier, this was a blistering pace that Tristal put up, and as a result, I don't think anybody's in position to really do a close finish to that. Allie and Files are both in Sky Castle, so they should be able to finish that off pretty soon.
Yep, and we still have Fuchsia Fantasy down in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, in the correct place to pick up a slab, which will unlock the crown, which will eventually here go ahead and result in a successful seed for Fuchsia.
Files has just gotten the air orb. I think that's all 4 for him.
And we're joined in chat by Tristal. GG to you, Tristal.
Hey, yep, GG, thank you.
So yet again, it seems to be execution makes such a difference for you. You're able to get through everything, find everything, and then here you are with another great time.
You know, when it's a sub 130, the seed was very, very kind to us, and aside from Slab being an ice cave in a deep part of it, that was pretty much everything I want in a seed. Early floater is one of the biggest determining factors for how fast a seed can be, but the other big one is the encounter table being very kind, and that was about the kindest encounter table I've ever seen. You know, just reset past a couple quick encounters at the beginning, and then you've got a stretch of, I don't know, 120 steps with one encounter in it. I mean, that's ridiculous.
I think the one thing that had us curious, and I'd love to hear you explain how you think about this, was the water floor where you didn't revive anyone despite seeing how difficult the waters hit.
I could tell where I was in the encounter table. I had tried to manipulate it. I didn't power cycle before I went into TOFR. So I was trying to make it so I could hit that sweet spot of, you know, a huge long hero run on the water floor specifically, because I had tested those water elementals in Sea Shrine. By the time I was getting through the end of Fire Floor, I could tell that's where I was going to be. So I knew I was only going to get one encounter on Water Floor. I guess in theory I could have revived, because I didn't know exactly what encounter I was going to see on that one encounter. But for the most part, I wasn't really worried about it.
And that makes a lot of sense. And then you got all the way through Skyfloor with no encounters.
That is just that magical encounter table that made everything super easy.
So let's see. You did see a nuclear out of carry. We saw Warmac off stream on another stream, but didn't see any skills that I remember.
If I had run into Warmac, I would have definitely punched it in the face.
He was non-trivial today, that's for sure. He was being fought at the same time you were against Chaos.
Did we see like Death Touch or Crack or anything like that?
I really don't think we did. I think we saw Swirl from one other of the Fiends. That'd just be it, other than the nuclear. You just reset from a T-Rex!
What is he doing?
He reset from a T-Rex!
We don't have time for T-Rexes today, everyone.
He's killing a Tyro!
That just broke Trenton.
I'm gonna need a minute. Tristal, you're back on top of the standings. Any thoughts there?
I'm very glad for that, for sure. It took me a few races to finally put one together. I think the first one I did, where the one Shofukumachi one, was that was lining up to be really great, but then I died twice in TOFR and lost by like 8 minutes. So that was kind of a heartbreaker, because I felt like that was an early floater seed too. So I felt like that, you know, of the seeds, just like the early floater stuff really makes a difference in as far as my the way I play and in my skill set, I guess. Back in the the older days of FFR, in the earlier versions, I was sort of a champion of the black belt strategy, as it were, compared to some other people. So I figured this league stage 5 was kind of custom built for me in a way. So I was getting a little disheartened that I hadn't been terribly successful yet, but it's good to get this one out of the way.
Alright, well again, GG, you gave us a great show like you usually do. By the way, currently we have Files back in Temple of Fiends. He's the only runner there at the moment. Ali is in the upper floors of Sky Castle on the window floor, so about to get to the crown. And I'm not sure where Smug is at. Kind of unfortunate for Smugzug, who was the first to get the slab, but then didn't make the right routing choices after that. Went into Earth Cave where there was just nothing, and then went to Volcano where likewise nothing paid off.
Yeah, in general, I really tried to save Earth Cave for last, because full clearing Earth Cave of all the treasures takes so much longer than just go-moding through it.
Fuchsia getting past these... Well, these vampires aren't quite cooperating with getting past. There we go. Mage Staff finished them off.
More of a Twilight coffee clatch than a Twilight cosplay party there.
The vampires hit pretty hard on this seed.
Files just getting past Lich. Using a nuke against the Catman. Who are apparently pretty high on HP for their part. Oh, that's unfortunate. Use a nuke on a fight you run away from.
Could be a thing where Fuchsia's trying to get to 42 on Lexi there. Are.
It's very
just about the best place to try to, get yourself up those last couple levels to 42, because the experience is just so huge on almost every encounter here.
Yeah, I like the idea of doing that more in the Sky Castle section than the Mirage Tower section.
Like, a lot of large groups of enemies.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Sorry, Mirage has a lot of large groups of enemies, so it can be more of a pain, whereas the air cave, as I just will continue to call it forever, has, you know, like eyes and nagas and things like that that are pretty good. Just one enemy fights sentries too.
Very true.
Trystal,
Fuchsia finds the Power Gauntlet. How nice was that for a location? Because it would have been really easy to not have it at Seed. Although I don't think you used it against the Fiends, for that matter.
Right, yeah, I was level 45, like, I didn't really need the Power Gauntlet. I picked it up anyway, just in case. Like, you never know when Chaos is going to be max evade or something like that, and you actually do want it, but didn't happen this seed.
Trystal, as
it's sort of just a...
I was going to ask Trystal real quick, you know, as a complement to a two-man strat with a high-level black belt, where do you like a character like a red mage to fall in levels in order for you to feel comfortable running two-man?
It's a lot more about the spells they have, so it kind of depends on how useful they are. This seed, we basically got everything. We got life too, not that that was incredibly useful, although it certainly got a little extra value before Kraken 2 for me. Pretty huge too. As far as levels go, what I usually do is I'll try to two-man Agamas until level 21, at which point the black belt can probably solo them. Before that, it gets a little sketchy because they're only on 4 hits instead of 6. That's a pretty... I find that to be a totally fine level for starting out at. Like 21, that'll get you level 6 spells if you want them. They start getting charges at level 20 for level 6 spells, which in this seed was fantastic because that was Cure 4 and Fast. Depends on the seed. It's a lot about their hit points as well. It's sometimes tough to get them all the way up to 400 max HP to get yourself out of nuke range. I usually just try and kind of let it fly. If I'm going to get nuked for 396 damage and kill my red mage, that's just a chance I'm willing to take because it's such a low percentage. I'm usually fine with them going into TOFR at like level 25. It's fine.
It looks like Files just got past Tiamat 2. He actually got into an encounter of 5 waters right before he got off the water floor. Oh, and now he gets a bunch of vampires and a whiz vampire, for good measure.
Yeah, that's probably about... I wonder if he power cycled before TOFR, and that's roughly where he would be in the encounter table then.
Yeah, that's not a bad play if you aren't doing the high-level tracking of the encounter table, because then if you don't like what your encounters ended up being, you could just do a soft reset and be somewhere else in the table.
I wasn't doing like any spreadsheet kind of thing or anything like that. It was more just mentally, okay, I know, 10 steps into the encounter table, we've got this huge lull, and that's where I want to be. But if I power cycle before TOFR, I'm just going to be right in the middle of that, in a place where I don't want to be. I'd rather be on those free steps when in the later floors than the early floors. So if I power cycle before TOFR, it's just going to end up being on like the first couple floors, like the Phantom floor, which is fine, but not usually a huge problem. I'd much rather have it on the water elementals, and I was kind of hoping to find myself on water floor there with it. I hadn't quite, I didn't like meticulously step it out to figure out I'd be exactly here. It's just more of a feel thing, but it did work out for me.
So as Files is on the Chaos fight off stream, what's the first thing you kind of look for in the Chaos fight? Are you looking for how he hits? Are you looking for how you hit? What do you look for?
In stage 5, it's all about your black belt, so really just, the only thing you can do with the black belt is punch at first, and see where you're at in terms of Chaos's absorb and evade. I'm not at all worried about Chaos's offensive output, assuming I'm fully healed and have a ribbon. Which I guess isn't always the case. In my first race, I had to try and fight Chaos on 250 hit points, and it didn't work out for me on my first try. But, you know, in this seed, it wasn't so bad.
Which does remind
try
me,
and punch it
about
if you're
those
only
ribbons?
hitting it. Yeah, the Mermaid Shrine ribbons were pretty hilarious. I've never seen two ribbons side by side like that in treasure chests before, so that was wonderful to see, because that was one of the things I was really hunting for. You definitely need to have a ribbon by the time you go into TOFR. Like, if if I had the crown and all that, I probably would have tried to open all the crown chests before going into TOFR, because you just can't take that chance.
And GG to Files, who just finished in second place with a time of 1:41.46.
To your question on Chaos, like, if your black belt hits for like 100 damage on the first try, then maybe try and use a power gauntlet or whatever. I'm gonna lean towards using fast no matter what, because Chaos tends to have a lot of hit points, as we saw in this seed as well. So I'm gonna fast on the first turn anyway, assuming I don't need to use like wall or something. But for the most part, I only use the power glove when I need to. I don't preemptively use it to try and get ahead of myself on it, because I find more than 50% of the time you don't really need it.
Fuchsia now working through the maze floors. Is that Files?
It might be.
Possibly Files.
GG, Tristal. I'm guessing you went to Ice Cave right after Volcano.
Yeah, I think I did. Or no, did I go to C first? No, I went to C first. I finished C.
Oh, nice. Well, then there was no way I was beating you on this seed then, because yeah, I went Volcano, C, Earth, Ice. So I had a full Earth clear.
Well, you can take and sometimes come out pretty far ahead, but I'm just going to take the percentage play on that and leave Earth for last whenever I can.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a gamble, but my black belt was higher level than I wanted him to be. I grinded a little bit too long in the Agama, so I was like, alright, I'll take all the extra runs. Maybe I'll get lucky and beat Tristal.
How high did you grind?
I went all the way to 42 because I have like PTSD about carry 1.
Sure. No, I mean, how many times have we seen Death Touch on carry 1 too at this point? I feel like it's been like 4 times.
Oh, even that, like, I swear to God, she's always rounded up to max. Like I've seen level 32 black belts die to carry melees, like where she has no spell list. She just attacks you for 300 damage in 2 turns and you die.
That can definitely happen. Luckily, we did have Opal Bracelet this time, so the defense was pretty high.
Oh yeah, Opal Bracelet and Massamoon really made for a really comfortable grind. I snuck a pro ring in before I went to Volcano, so just for maximum safety percentage, and between those two things, the Agamas actually hit really hard, but if you just go to the armor screen and reset the absorb bug, even with the hard-hitting Agamas, it didn't really matter too much.
The Masmuon on the whole time because it was one-shotting him no matter what, so it didn't even have to worry about the absorb bug. When you're wielding a weapon, it doesn't happen.
Oh, I learned something new today.
That's a nice side benefit of Masmuon, is that you don't have to worry about that during the grind.
Fuchsia just picking up the air orb, by the way, so has to go do the crown quest, and then we'll be able to go to the past.
Yeah, I was about 2 seconds away from flying straight from Ordeals with the salty dot done I saw in Tristal as I was finishing up, or rather going straight to Temple of Fiends. I saw Tristal dot done right when I was finishing up Sky, so I was like, alright, I gotta finish this up. I almost went into Temple of Fiends without doing the crown quest.
Yeah, I'll retcon my routing as well. I did end up going to Ordeals.
Man after my own heart.
I think I did that before Ice. Well, the encounter table was so easy. Like there was.
Oh yeah.
It was free, so there was no reason not to do it first.
And with Warp level 1, I mean, you have all the charges you need to make that super fast.
an exit at the end, so you don't even have to fight the zombie dragon fight.
Oh yeah, delicious. Although I will say that with the encounter table being the way it was great in the beginning, but man, once you got past that initial rush, you know, you throw away the first 2 encounters, then you have a long run and 1 fight and an even longer run, and then it's non-stop fighting front to back until you work your way through the encounter table again.
Sort of how that goes. I managed to make it so I didn't power cycle before TOFR. I put myself in a place where it was possible I would get that really nice stretch on the water floor, because I had tested water elementals in Sea Shrine, and I knew they were going to hit pretty hard. They had 2 hits and a lot of strength. And it worked out for me. I hadn't, like, meticulously stepped it out, but I felt like it was probably going to be in a good place, and by the end of Fire Floor, I knew I was exactly where I wanted to be. I only ended up getting 1 encounter in on the water floor, and it was just seafood party mix, so didn't have to fight the 7 water elementals, which I knew was going to be kind of an issue.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing, although I was actually counting it out. Unfortunately, my rough estimate in my head was off by 1. I knew I got the gap on the Sea Shrine, but the very last tile before the staircase was a water fight, my only water fight.
As long as, you know, it sounds like you made through anyway. You know, Life 2 gives you a couple extra target dummies, so...
Oh yeah, honestly, this was a pretty straightforward seed. Honestly, it was kind of an exercise in routing. I was pretty tame. Like, there were a lot of places you could have farmed, so nothing too crazy or scary except high hit point chaos and pretty high evade Tiamat. But that's all par for the course, really.
I was wondering if there was kind of a better place to, because we got early floaters, so the world was opened up to us. We could kind of grind wherever we wanted to. I was curious if there was a better, like, low-level grinding spot between, I don't know, 7 and 13 or something like that we could have gone to. I debated going to Power Peninsula, but I figured I probably didn't even need to do that.
I actually did that because of how nice the encounter table was. And having Fire 3, I just dipped over there real quick. It's a good way to get one of your black belts killed. And I think I took like 2 or 3 Zombo 4-pack fights over there. It didn't take me too long. I don't regret it. It got me to like level 12, which is all you need to get through, make your way through Volcano.
Makes sense. I think I had both of my Dan black belts dead at that point already, so I didn't have to do it that way. But yeah, if you need to kill off a black belt, that's a great way to do it.
The first group encounter off of a power cycle was a group 3, if I recall correctly, which means that, I mean, if you wanted to do an overworld grind, you could have maybe done Sandworms, but other than that, I think Akima's was probably the place to be.
I'm still trying to recover from somebody resetting out of a T-Rex.
Oh no, did somebody reset out of a T-Rex?
I think they just did it so fast they didn't even think about it.
I mean, I'm Team Tyro all the way, but Team Tyro is not Team T-Rex, and those blue steaks are delicious.
Honestly, I reset so fast, it's entirely possible I reset out of a T-Rex before the graphic would have even come on the screen. Like, I tried and reset while the screen is flashing for the encounter, even.
Yeah, while the transition's going.
Well, that's a different story altogether.
You can't feel bad about murdering Tyros if you never even see him on your screen, Tristal.
Right. This is a if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there kind of thing.
If somebody murders your friend in the forest, is anyone around to cry? We'll leave that one to the philosophers.
Right. If it's in that weird part of northwest Wyoming and Yellowstone where there's technically no law enforcement, you can legally murder somebody.
Should I be worried that you've looked into this?
I know a lot of weird trivia stuff. Let's just go with that.
All right, well, GG, Tristal. I do have to head out, but well played, sir.
Right, thank you very much.
Hope you guys had a good race. Everyone else, have a good night.
All right, Files. Hopefully next time we'll actually get some words out of you and not have to just drag things out.
It's impossible to get me to talk about anything.
Alright, so we're hanging out to see how things go with Fuchsia. He is about to get to the Lich fight now. Didn't get much of a look at what Lich has, but as I said, you generally hope to kill Lich so fast that you never find out what he has, and then you hope that it was Nuke and 4 Nuclears. We do know that Carrie has nuclear in her arsenal. That might be a bit of a concern for Fuchsia, whose black belts I think are a little bit lower level. I'm not sure what the highest level is.
It looks like their black belts are at least 21 because they were doing 5 hits. So and you can tell Lonnie's got plenty of HP as well. So
Yeah.
we're in like a somewhere between 21 and 32 on the first two, and then 32 and 42.
And you gotta love to
encounters
see
on this fire floor, but hopefully that means good things after.
Yep.
Themselves in a pretty good place there.
By the way, take a moment to mention that the next league race, which I think is, well, it's the last one, is whatever. The next one is on Sunday. That'll be at 6 o'clock. No, wait, that's next week. What am I thinking? Help me out, man.
At
4 o'clock.
p.m. Eastern.
4 o'clock.
Hey, meanwhile in chat, thanks for the 75-bit cheer. I'm going to say vizguth, but I'm not quite sure how that's pronounced. But thank you for the 75-bit cheer. That's awesome.
How about this? Carrie had nuke and nuclear. We saw nuclear earlier. She just used nuke the spell, so she had both of those. And good luck to y'all on Sunday. I will be at a conference championship game, enjoying myself quite.
Ooh, very nice.
Which one?
FGCU versus Lipscomb. It's the Atlantic Sun.
May your team of choice win.
Well, Fuchsia got a water fight. And they're just keep putting up those 3-figure hits. But down they go.
We're in a weird spot where nuke isn't usually enough to kill them. Too many HP to make that consistently work. Like a 240 HP or something like that. Something where Ice 3 is going to kill him half the time.
Now a ceviche encounter for Fuchsia.
Saw anything that had Death Touch or Stone Touch.
Well, I don't know if you noticed this while you were streaming, but there were a few technical difficulties with Twitch during this race. So there's a lot of things we might not have seen.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I didn't notice that at all.
Yeah, we were commentating slideshows for a while.
Rough.
I think you were like in level 21 in the Agama grind before we were real time with you the rest of the way.
Gotcha.
Here's Kraken, and we know that Kraken doesn't have nuke.
The Red Mage.
Getting the hits in, but pretty high absorb for this Kraken. And there it goes.
Did Fuchsia promote? Really sure based on the sprites here.
No, don't believe so. I think these are standard sprites. If I recall correctly, the black belts have little hats for masters once they promote.
Just because with only level 32 and no promotion, that means no fast spell either. So the Chaos fight might take a little while. We're going to see what Chaos is capable of. Because he was very above average HP. I'm not sure how much it was. It felt like in the 3,000 to 4,000 range.
I definitely counted over 3,000. I just wasn't sure how much over. There's the second nuclear coming out to play.
Get it out of the way.
4 of them in the mix. That's the other trouble with the longer these fights go in. Sometimes you're getting deeper into this spell and ability pool, and you might find something really unpleasant come out.
Exactly. Although luckily, you know, plenty of life 2 and heal 3 charges, I think, so... That'll make for a fun chaos fight, at least.
It should have the power gauntlet, though, so... a couple rounds of that, and you're in decent shape.
Fuchsia's starting to get into the red zone here now. He cannot afford to lose his red mage.
And through the fight, make sure you heal before you take a step. Oh yes. Well, that's not healing, that's moving equipment. Make sure you heal. There we go. I'm such a proponent of that, especially the one time where I was starting to say that and they got into an encounter on the next step. But through without another fight, and on to the fight against Chaos.
A little bit ahead of my stream here on that. And commentary action.
Oh, that figures.
Right. Oh, what? Oh, okay. I somehow missed the Life 2 casts on the first 2, and I'm like, oh my god, why would you forget that?
To be fair, I missed it too. Getting the Invis 2 stacks out, and also with the defense, able to cast Ruse, so turtled up pretty well for this. We know that 2 of the nuclears are off the table, so is Nuke, so a lot of the big damage is not going to come into play. I also think we saw Swirl as well, so I don't think there's too much horrible that this Chaos could have, other than his HP. Although I suppose if you have Cure 4 with that HP, that'd be a different story.
End up going to Ordeals, because I don't see a white shirt anywhere.
That could be, but was able to cast Invis 2 charges. I think Fuchsia got 3 of them off. Well, let's talk about this, Tristal. If you see this much absorb on Chaos, how many of those power gauntlet stacks would you want in this situation?
In this situation? Yeah, this is probably a pretty good number right here. With no Cure 4 and no level 42 black belt to just bail me out of everything, like 3 is probably a solid number.
So that was good for what looks to be the 500-600 range of damage. You know that's going to get most Chaos down if he doesn't have Cure 4.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we could see here. Chaos is going to get, 8 to 10 turns on this, so...
Yeah, more support damage coming into play, but also the rounds before Fuchsia started attacking. We saw Tornado come out at one of them. And I think Fire 3 is the only other damage we've seen particularly.
These 2 stacks are working out pretty well. Chaos is only getting 1 hit in, so that's not too bad.
Thankfully, that slow 2 cast missed his black belt.
Damage poison comes out to play, so there was something in there. But not too much damage against the main black belt.
Your main damage dealer 3rd or 4th in the row, so slow 2 doesn't hit them, because that'll go right through a ribbon. Protect slow 2.
4 damage! Oh, this game sometimes. So a GG to Fuchsia, 3rd place,
Ow.
time of 2 hours, almost on the dot, 17 seconds over.
GG with the swag kill, that was impressive.
So let's mention one more time, the next league race is going to be 4 o'clock tomorrow. If you'd like to know more about Final Fantasy and the Randomizer, please join us on the Discord. It's really easy. We're really friendly. You got people like Crystal who will give you good advice. And I'll stand over to the side and be nice.
So it looks like Fuchsia Fantasy is going to forego an interview. So GG to him, and thanks for all the GGs in chat for him finishing up. Tristal, any final thoughts on this flag set and what you're looking forward to for Stage 6, which is in a week from now?
Yeah, so this flag set felt a lot more like a traditional race. Unlike most of these other flag sets we've been doing lately. It was nice to get back to a goal that was actually killing chaos. So it felt like a real run. What's the exact party composition on the next flags?
Sure. So Stage 6 is going to be a fighter and 3 white mages off to kill chaos.
3 white mages. Well, if Meowth ever decides he wants to start playing these league races again, he's going to be the biggest threat because he loves multiple white mage parties, let me tell you. This is going to be pretty good for Artea and Monosai as well, so this is going to be pretty tough for me to find a race where I can lower chaos points. Fighter is a lot harder for me than Black Belt in general, because Black Belt's sort of easy mode, so yeah, it'll be interesting. It's basically the same flags otherwise, all the early conveniences and things like that, so the routing for the most part should be pretty close to the same, although it'll be interesting to see as far as grinding the fighter up, what the plan will be for that.
All right, so once again, a thank you to Speed Gaming for hosting us today, and thank you to all of you who watched, and we really hope you enjoy this show. That's going to be it for me. Maya, was a pleasure today. Melee Wizard, thank you so much for doing the tracking. It was a lot to keep up with, and you did a good job.
Yeah, thanks to everybody who hung out and watched with us. I know that we had a few stream glitches today, and that's Twitch just being Twitch every once in a while. So thanks for everybody who watched. If you're interested in learning more about the Final Fantasy Randomizer, go ahead and click over to our Discord. We are always active pretty much every hour of the day and night at this point. We can help get you set up with this randomizer. Thanks again to everybody who watched. Thanks to Feasel and thanks to Speed Gaming for letting us hang out. Looks like over on SG1 we have an Ori tournament going on today. Super Mario 64 has just started up. And if you hang out here a little bit later on Speed Gaming 2, it looks like we have Mega Man X4 coming up a little bit later. And so for everybody in the Final Fantasy Randomizer community, this is Maya. You can just call me Maya, though. And thanks for everybody for watching. Have a great day.